Yay!
Oh my gosh, we're so excited to have you. It is Chris Elder of Elder Construction. We're going to ask him some leadership questions today and get to know him a little better. We kind of know him. We're helping you know him better.
Yes. He's a great leader. You're going to love some of the insights that he brings and the passion that he brings to his job. So we're thrilled to have you here, Chris. Thank you for being here.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
We heard we were talking before the episode. This is your first video cast or vodcast that you've ever done. Is that correct?
That's correct. So no judgment.
No judgment. We will be gentle.
We will take it easy. We will take it easy.
I'm
such a podcast junkie. It's fun.
That's great. Well, good. Now you'll get to listen to yourself and go, I hate the way my voice sounds.
I hate the way I sound. Do I really sound like that?
Is that me? I can't believe I said that.
Okay. So we've spoken with you fairly recently. So maybe some of the things we ask you might be repetitive. And no worries, because people don't know you very well, so they don't know about our conversation. So the first thing I want to kind of ask you and have you think about is, tell us a little bit about your industry and give us what you think is the greatest challenge your business is currently facing in the business climate that we're seeing today.
Sure. So we're a commercial general contractor up and down the Front Range. So we build commercial spaces, schools, churches, medical facilities, office buildings, anything in that commercial world. We dabbled in residential years ago, but found that sector is just a little too different for our liking. So we're really happy and blessed to be in the commercial space as a general contractor.
Great.
Awesome.
What are you finding are your biggest challenges? Is it, looking at the business climate as it is today, as Gail mentioned, kind of what are you seeing? What are you seeing coming down the pipeline for next quarter and beyond? What's got you up at night?
I think for all industries, the last 4 years have been challenging in so many different ways, things that we never imagined seeing or see coming. Of course, the obvious for our industry is labor. Our labor force is challenged. We're not seeing as many folks joining the construction industry as we have in the past. And we've got an aging demographic and our industry is unique. You don't just get a college degree and jump in. It's time in the saddle is what makes you great. It's your craft. And so that's always been a challenge. I think more near term, the challenge has been interest rates and the pressure that's putting on not only interest rates, but the tightening of the credit markets has made it a little bit more difficult to get projects financed and into construction. And we see that persisting on into 2024. I think people are getting a little bit more comfortable with where rates are, and as long as they stop rising, then and there's some predictability around it. That's a good thing.
Yeah, everybody will be happy.
That's kind of the near-term challenge.
When you talk about labor,
that's our near-term challenge.
Yeah, that's a pretty big one.
Yes. Well, back to labor, I'm curious to know, with an aging population, with people coming into the market and trying to generate interest in what you do as a business and bringing them into really the elder family, what are you doing to attract those people? What are some of the ideas that you have to bring people in and get them working for you?
Well, I think making sure that we get into the school systems early, being a big supporter of the trade schools, especially in the K through 12, making people aware of the great opportunities in our industry. We're leveraging a lot more technology in our industry today than we did even yesterday and 10 years ago. I think that is intriguing to a lot of younger generations and of folks. So those are a few things we're doing. I think there is a huge thirst around connection and culture. Culture, I'm not sure I love the word culture because I think it's become a little trite and it's become a buzzword, but really being creating a group of really authentic folks that enjoy each other, creating that work environment that people, they have friends, they enjoy being together and really showing that off and having fun together. every business is challenging. Our industry, we have some good times and we have some bad times, and so you want to make sure that in those bad times, when you're in the foxhole with somebody, you can trust them, and you can have fun along the way. We always say we want to create memorable experiences, and it doesn't mean they're always fun, but they've got to be memorable, and you've got to enjoy the journey. We give so much of our lives to our work, and make sure that it's meaningful and purposeful work.
That's awesome. I think, in talking about the challenges that you see in the labor market and, kind of inserting yourself into and creating relationships with the schools from K through 12, et cetera, especially in those trade schools, sounds like, pretty logical. And I think when a lot of people think about the kind of skills that you're looking for, I imagine it's easy to think of the technical skills they need to have to kind of work in construction. Most of the time. I mean, if it's not something as technical as on the architecture side or the engineering side, it's definitely labor itself, right? And the ability to be able to make things happen from that technical standpoint. When you think about candidates coming in, or even any person that's on a team of yours, what are some of those, what Bruce and I love to say, power skills, most people call soft skills, that you look for in someone that you think will lend itself to success within elder construction?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that, power skills. I'm gonna steal that from you.
Hey.
Power skills. I think power skills that we're looking for aren't any different than what other industries are looking for. If I could pick an ideal candidate, first they've got to have a thirst to learn. We want learners. The stuff that our industry, to get good at the craft, it takes time, and you have to be willing to learn and put that time in. Resiliency and toughness mentally is an important one. The product that we sell is we solve problems. So people that are critical thinkers, that can solve problems, that can think out of the box, that is really important. We don't need problem identifiers. We need problem solvers, and folks that can recognize an issue, and not just pass the buck, but be able to help participate in the solution is critically important. And related to that, soft skills, the just emotional intelligence that is so important. How you carry a conversation, how you professionally engage with other folks, and how you show up both physically but also in your speech is really important. We're a team, and we work as big teams, not just internally, but with the external world. And so how well do you play in the sandbox, and can you read a room? Can you read the situation and emotionally make heads and tails of what's going on, and then respond appropriately is huge. And that is something that I'm seeing less and less of, unfortunately. So got to be a learner, got to be a problem solver, and got to have a strong sense of emotional intelligence, or just common sense, I guess. Manners, pretty important.
Right.
Too.
The simple saying please and thank you. It's amazing.
Excuse me.
Yes. Pardon me. I have a question. Yeah. It's
show
crazy.
up on time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Details.
Look out for each other. Yeah, the foundational stuff that is just so important that it's almost surprising that you even have to have a conversation about it now.
Yeah.
But that's really important. Everything else can be taught.
How do you recruit for that? So what, I mean, our viewers might be really interested in the creative ways maybe that you've come up with to either identify that those skills are there. Is it just through conversation? Is it a feeling? What are you doing to measure that?
I think it comes from a lot of conversation, and it's conversation with different folks. One of the things we look for in the hiring process is humility, and humility to us shows up in a lot of different forms. One, for us, humility, the way we define it is the way that C.S. Lewis defined it. It's not that you think of yourself less, you think of others more. And so it starts with your first interaction Maybe it's the receptionist. Well, you're getting interviewed. How do you treat that person? We don't want to. We're really keen on making sure, and through the interview process, that they're folks with different titles going to be speaking with that person, and they've got to treat everybody the same in their respect and in their conversation. So that's a big one. Is that humility. I think you throw them some curveball questions. They're more on the side of, in tough situations as a team, how did you handle this? And you're looking for we or us rather than I in the conversation. It's but I think you get a pretty good sense in just having multiple conversations with somebody if they can keep up with the conversation. How is their body language in the conversation? You got to throw some tough questions at them that are going to make them feel uncomfortable, and just see how they respond. And it's amazing how much you can get out of just a conversation.
So I think when we did our work with you, we shared that great phrase of, support your teammates at all costs, right? And I love your idea of when you're talking with someone, how much of the I is coming out versus the we, right? We're very much passionate about we over me and us. And I love the acronym Together Everyone Achieves More with team, the word team. And when you think about teams within your organization and those that are very high performing, when you see a high performing team and it's just moving along and humming along, what are the attributes or the qualities that you could call out that are the recipe ingredients for that high performing team?
We follow the Pat Lenciani teamwork model quite a bit. So at the very bottom is trust, and we spend a lot of time talking about trust as a group, because trust means something different to everyone, and some people trust is earned, some people trust is extended easily, some people trust the person but not their competence. And so really getting clear as a team on what we mean when we're throwing around words like trust, and what does it take to trust each other. So trust is the foundational piece, and with trust you can just start to build. You start to build up to that radical candor, which is so important, that ability to speak openly without fear. And that is a really tough one. We like to say, hey, we've got to have a candid conversation, get it all on the table. We're attacking issues, never the person. And when you start to realize that it's the tough conversations that we have with trust at the core, that it just builds on it just builds. And the conversations get richer and richer and richer. But trust has got to be the foundation of it all. And it takes time to build trust, depending on the team.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's so behavior based, right? Trust is behavior based. If your behavior lands in the fact that you say what you do what you say you're going to do, then that trust begins to build. I love the concept that, how do you trust somebody? You start by trusting them. It starts there, and then you've got this cup that goes in and out of, okay, great. So that I trust them more because they did what they said we're going to do. Sorry, I don't mean to. I'm just going to hit her. I'm going to do that. Apparently,
happening.
I wanted to visually show this, and then I realized
he did. So trust is like a cup, and it just fills up to the very top. And then if you don't do what you're doing, it just kind of comes down.
Yeah, that's right. There's right. So it's up.
Yeah, it's down. It's true, though. I think you hit the nail on the head when you talk about how that's foundational to everything. And we do get teams all the time who say, like, well, how am I supposed to trust this person? I don't even know them.
Yeah.
So there is a sense of, there's like the down payment of trust that you give because, hey, we're on this team together. So I automatically have to it's the ante, right? When you're playing, when you're playing cards, it's like, I got to put this in as the minimum. And then from there, it continues to deepen and grow based on your behavior, how you show up authentically, how others are responding to you, and then just, that overarching relationship growth. So I love that you talk
Yeah.
about that. And when I think about your industry specifically, safety is huge.
Yep.
And so trust is tied very closely with safety. And you said something earlier about feeling like the space is safe enough to say something. And I imagine that's really critical for you as a leader to help create, because your teams are hierarchical. So you usually have someone who's the project manager or the lead, and then you have others, kind of that trickle down with the various responsibilities that they have. And so I think it can be really easy in certain industries, everyone has that kind of title hierarchy, to feel like, well, I'm not, in charge, so I shouldn't say anything. And especially when it comes to safety, I think you have to speak up about that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Back to your point on that trust, I love the image of a jar, a trust jar.
Yeah.
And when you're entering into a new relationship or a new team, when you honor a commitment, pebbles go into the jar or marbles go into the jar, however you want to look at it. And before you can whenever you have a tough conversation, you're actually taking a withdrawal out of that jar. So you can't just go straight into feedback or a tough conversation without having some deposits in that trust jar. And that comes by doing what you're saying you're going to do, showing up on time. When you make a commitment, follow through.
Yep.
Those are it's the little things that are so fundamental and important to then transporting you to those better, deeper, richer conversations that continues to snowball the trust within the teams.
You have a unique situation, so I'll just share with our viewers that you have an identical twin brother who is also in a leadership position in elder construction. And I want to know if you've ever for Halloween switched places and pretended to be the other. So that's one.
That's question one.
And two, when you have those, how does it work with the challenging conversations with your brother? What's different there?
Yeah. How do you do that? Asking for a friend.
Yeah. So Halloween, no, we've never been the same, although we've chosen not to dress up, and I'll just say I'm Pat today, so it makes it easy. So stay good. No, I think what has made a recipe for our success. So it's my twin brother, Patrick, but it's also our third partner, Austin, who we've been best friends with, Pat and I, since first grade. So as we enter into business together 13, 14 years ago, we already had this amazing foundation of trust. We had 30 years, 25 years of a relationship. And that's where my brother and I and Austin are incredibly candid with each other, because we know each other so well. We trust each other. We trust each other with our lives. We trust each other with the money. I mean, so I think that has helped to model to others. And that's a rare example, because it's 30 years of knowing somebody intimately and very well. I know Pat's strengths, his weaknesses, how he makes decisions. And I know Austin, we're all so different in our personalities. We don't get hung up on the personality differences or, our likes and dislikes. We know each other's hearts very well. So when we have candid conversations, we know they're coming from a good place, and it's not, well, we can have those conversations.
So you don't call mom in and, Mom, Patrick said this. He wants to build this.
No, I haven't done that since middle school, but
well, you're very lucky. We had one of those moments this morning.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so it's been a ride.
It's been a really awesome, journey with those guys, because I think we've gotten a lot accomplished where we're not starting from scratch.
That's awesome.
So the final question for you is, what are you excited about in the coming months? What's the thing that you that you're really getting jazzed about doing, about your business, about what's coming down the pipeline?
Oh, I'd say personally and professionally.
There you go.
Oh, well, I'll start personally first. So we're coming into a fun season with our family. We've got 8-year-old, 6-year-old, and 3-year-old. So we are now like moving finally, with less and less stuff. So just being able to, we're out of diapers now as of last week, which is fantastic. So, just that ability to adventure with the family. It's been fun to watch with our 6 and 8-year-old. They're starting to come into some of those seasons where they need help from mom and dad, and they're looking for some wisdom and some guidance from mom and dad. And that's both been exciting and challenging because we don't know all the time, but it's left, we're having some fun conversations around it, and oftentimes, feeling very confused, but so no, that I'm excited where the family is. We're having a lot of fun together. As a business, we're coming off a really strong year. We've got some, I think, headwinds coming up in the economy, but I think our team is in a place where we really are in a strong team mindset.
Wow, that was so awesome.
Chris Elder is such a charming, interesting guy. I just love what he's doing. I love what he's built.
I do too.
At Elder Construction, it's just a really, he starts with the word family. And if you're around that organization at all as a client or an employee, I think you'll find that holds true. He's really interested in creating that family atmosphere.
Super evident. So their website is elderconstructioninc.com.
Mm-hmm.
I would go check it out, and for sure check out their values. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty powerful what they've got going for their construction business. And if you need commercial construction, they're pretty amazing.
Yep.
So thank you again, Chris and Elder Construction team, for what you're bringing to the world and for your time today.
And stay tuned for the next episode.
All right. See you soon.
All right.